Hey, Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara's not with us. Today we are checking out the Ferum Forge Mass Drop Falcon. Overall, this thing is 6 3/4 with a 2 7-inch blade, so it's almost 3-inch blade. Here is a quick size comparison. Here's the Benchmade Griptilian Large. Underneath is the Mini Griptilian by Benchmade, which it's about the same size as a mini grip, or at least it's very comparable to it. Another knife really quick, so we do have one little Ferum Forge knife. Here is the Mini Archbishop. Bang. That's also made by We, because we made this knife. So they're both made by We. We is a great company to have your knives made by. They make very, very good knives. Their knives are well done and just all around they're great knife makers. I'm using this brown background because my other one's black and it wouldn't come in as clear. All right, let's get to the things I like and don't like about this knife. One, I do love this blade shape. It's S35VN. There's a DLC coating over the whole thing that's kind of got like the stone wash over it, which I do like also. The blade shape is just a very useful blade shape. You can use the tip, you can use that little bit of belly, you can use the belly like this. It's just so many ways to use this type of blade shape. It's just a great blade shape. What would I call this blade shape? I don't know. I guess maybe I mean, I guess it could be called a drop point. Yeah, let's just call it a drop point. It's a nice drop point blade. It's kind of got a little, it's kind of like a warny drop point or something. I don't know. It's a drop point blade. Let's call it that. The action is amazing. They got a, well, it's a great action, a great detent. We Knife does great detents. The jimping is done really well. This is the type of jimping I do like to see on the flipper tab and on the back of the blade. Just great, great jimping. Behind the edge thickness is, I measured this one after sharpening at about 20 thousandths. Now I did notice that this has been carried and used, which I do like to see, because when I get a knife that has been carried by the owner, it lets me know how the knife's going to break in and, you know, etc, etc. It's a good thing to see how, because when you get it brand new, that's one thing, but after it's been carried and used a little bit, you know, things tend to happen with knives, and this one is breaking in very nicely. Behind the edge thickness, like I said, was about 20 thousandths. That was after sharpening it. I did put a nice edge on it. I wanted to put a somewhat shiny edge on it, but I wanted to keep the bite to it. So I put a semi-polished toothy edge on it, which, so it kept its bite, yet it has a little bit of polish to it, but not too much, because I didn't want it to lose the bite. It's not an overly thick blade stock, and We is known for doing really nice blade geometries. I think they could have done this one just a little tiny bit better. Now, that being said, this is a very good behind the edge thickness. 20 thousandths is a good behind the edge thickness. The blade's not too thick, so it's still a very, it's like right in the mid range. You know, it's not really thin, it's not really thick. It's basically just perfect. But that being said, though, this is a small knife. They could have done it a little bit thinner. That way you'd get a lot more sharpenings out of it before it got thicker and thicker and thicker. Even though you will have a lot of life out of this blade, still. This is a T8 pivot with T6s on the clip and on the body, which, that's kind of a bad thing to me, because We usually does T8s all the way around. I'm kind of surprised that they did that. We even likes to do T8s on the clip normally, and it's just surprising to me. But not bad, just something to note. It is a titanium frame lock. This does come in different versions, so if you don't like this version, it also comes in different colors, and also just a solid titanium frame lock instead of the wing. There is a very nice forward finger choil that can be used all the way up, at least on my hand. I know this isn't a very big knife, so if you have bigger fingers, it might not fit all the way up there like mine does, but it will fit at least your nub, I do believe. I mean, unless you're a giant. You can get lots of different grips on this thing. I do like that. It is chamfered all the way around the knife, which in some ways that's a good thing, and in some ways it's a bad thing. It's good because it has an overall soft feeling. Just everything just feels nice and comfortable in the hand. But they chamfered around the hole, which does suck, because that makes it to where you can't really use your nail because it just slips out. And also when you're using your thumb, it kind of slips out. But you can use it. You just got to be very thoughtful of this lock bar. You cannot put any pressure on that lock bar. So if you keep all your fingers off the lock bar, bang, you can use it. Thumb, you want to keep everything off. So you got to like kind of manipulate your hand in a way that makes it to where you don't hit that lock bar. You see me fumbling with it now, but you can get it once you just get used to it. It's actually pretty simple right now in front of the camera, but let's see if I can get 3 times in a row. Dang it. All right, but you can do it. It's just, you got, like I said, you just got to keep your fingers off that lock bar and you can get it. 2, one more. Bang! 3. See, you can get it pretty easily. You just got to think about it. Just like with this one, like I said, you keep all your fingers off that lock bar, and then you can do it. And you also got to use your finger fat. You can't use your nail. If you use your nail, it's just going to slip out. Because if you look right here, like I said, they chamfered all the way around that hole. It's very centered. We knives usually are, which is really good. This is the kind of jimping I like to see. Jimping on the flipper tab, jimping on the back of the knife. Both very, very nice. The action with the detent, nice strong detent. And that's also why it adds to, if you touch the lock bar, it's going to be hard to deploy. But if you keep your fingers off the lock bar, it's very, very nice detent. We is just known for doing that. The drop on it when you unlock it, the detent is nice and early. Right there. So you can swing past it, but you want to put a lot of pressure on that lock bar because it is a nice strong lock bar. It's not really drop shutty, but you can drop it shut. And you can do the little slap shut if you want to. And since it has a nice strong detent, once it locks into place, once it gets down there, it stays in there and doesn't just pop right back out. Once it's in there, it's in there. You hear that? Which I do like that. It does have ceramic ball bearings, ceramic detent, and it has a stainless steel lock bar insert. It is not milled out at all, so it is just 2 slabs of titanium, which adds to the nice weight that it has, and I like that weight. I like a knife that it feels like it's well made. It feels expensive, I should say, especially when it's metal. Which this is titanium. So, and titanium is really good because it doesn't rust and it's very strong, especially for its weight ratio, for the weight versus strength ratio, and also its springability. One reason why titanium is really good for using on knives is because its memory of where it was and where you bend it to, and then it going back to straight or to true is very strong. Its memory on where it was is really good. Like, so for a lock bar, when you bend it over to here, it's going to stay there. So then if you bend it back, it'll just go back, which is really good about titanium. Okay, another thing I don't like is this mass drop symbol. The font is just horrible. It looks like it was bought from Walmart or something like that. It's just a very generic font. I wish they would come up with a logo. They are calling themselves Drop now. It's not mass drop anymore. But still, though, the font just sucks. They could use a symbol or maybe just do different lettering and smaller letters. You see the S35VN under it. Even if they did mass drop like that, it would have been better instead of this thick gold mass drop. I guess it's not gold, silver. This thick silver mass drop. The Ferum Forge symbol looks really good, though. I like how it's actually put into the titanium and not just etched. It's actually engraved. All right. Now, so overall, I really like this knife. I like the ergos. I like the jimping. I like the action. I do not like the chamfer around the hole. And then I also, another chamfer I do not like is right here on the lock bar, right? It's not really that it's chamfered, but it's nice and rounded. And because of this coating, the coating is somewhat slick. Like, it still gives a little grip, but it's somewhat slick. So, which makes it to where, since it has a strong lock bar, it's easy to slip off of it, or it makes it feel like you're gonna slip off of it. They didn't give you a ton of room, but it wouldn't be very difficult if the lock bar was either not as strong or if it wasn't coated, I should say. So it's not hard. It's just you got to think about it, and when you first grab it and you first put your finger on there, it lets you know, I'm a strong lock bar and I'm kind of slick. So, you're going to want to think about when you unlock me where you put your finger and how you push it. And it can be, it's not really so much of a fidget knife. I mean, it can be, I guess, after it breaks in more. It's hard to say because I don't know exactly how broken in this knife already is, but it is what it is, and that lock bar's strong and it's a little slick. Could have used a little bit, just a smidgen more room to get to it. That being said, you can unlock it very easily. All right, let me see this. All right, internal stop pins, if you can catch that right there. I don't know if you can see the stop pin right there, which I do like. That helps for side-to-side play, and it just helps it to have really good lockup. The clip works really well in and out of the pocket. It's got a beautiful ramp right there, and then that little touching point that adds a good amount of pressure. It works really well. I do not know why they use T6s instead of all T8s. We's usually known for all T8s. I'm surprised that they did that. So those are the things I don't like. I don't like how slick the lock bar is, the T6s, and the chamfering around the edge of the finger flicking hole. Other than that, I like everything else. I love the blade shape, love the jimping, love the ergos. I like the clip. I like the overall look of it. It's just a very useful blade. They could have did a little bit better blade geometry on it, but it's not something to really bitch about. It's not bad. So there you guys go. Peace.